Hello and welcome to CadenCenter. It's time for another This Week in Sports. I am joined once again by my dad to help me talk some NFL, NHL, and college football. First off, the NFL, we have the standings here, and let's start in the AFC East, where the dominating Patriots, no surprise there, are 8-2, followed by the Dolphins, 6-4. Any surprises or things you can predict in this division?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins have finally found their stride. Big win yesterday in LA, shutting down Todd Gurley, coming back at the end to win it. They're on a roll with 5 in a row now to go 6-4. I think the Bills are just kind of middle of the road. Maybe next year might be something they're looking forward to. But look for the Dolphins. They still have the Patriots, I think, 2 more times to play. So they could catch them if they sweep the Patriots this year.
Then we move to the AFC West. Your Raiders in first. They're playing right now. So say they win, they go to 8-2. Say they lose, they go to 7-3. This is a huge game for them. If they win, they can kind of take a little more control. They have that one game of breathing space. We have the Chiefs at 7-3 at second. Broncos in third, also 7-3. My Chargers 4-6, but we're rebuilding. We will get better. So who do you predict will come out of the AFC West?
Well, definitely the Raiders are the best team in the West. I think they'll, their domination over Denver last Monday was huge, and I think a big game coming up against Kansas City here in a couple weeks will be the deciding factor. We usually go into Arrowhead and play well, so I think they'll take that division, the Oakland Raiders.
And move to the final, or 2 more AFCs. We have the Ravens at 5-5, the Steelers at 5-5, the Bengals at 3-6-1, the one's a tie, and the Cleveland Browns at 0-11 in the AFC North. So, kind of a not so competitive division. The Steelers or Ravens, who have not played that well, might make the playoffs. Who do you think will take it?
I think the Baltimore Ravens are playing well. They have the number 1 defense in the NFL right now, and I think they'll end up pulling away from the Steelers. Steelers have some injury issues, and they just seem not to be hitting their stride right now. So I'm going to take Baltimore to win that division.
All right, we're going to move here to the NFC East, where the Cowboys 9-1, led by Ezekiel Elliott. Thank you, Ezekiel. You really helped me in my fantasy. And Dak Prescott. We have the Giants at second and 7-3. So who do you think will take the NFC East, or is it just going to stick to the Cowboys on a 9-game winning streak?
I think the Cowboys take it. I don't know, unless they got Seattle coming up. I don't see the Cowboys really losing again in that division. The NFC West is just absolutely horrible other than Seattle. And then the NFC North with Green Bay and Minnesota and Detroit, they're also kind of middle-of-the-road teams. So look for the Cowboys to run away with that one.
All right, and we'll just mention the NFC West. Seattle 7-2-1, the Cardinals 4-5-1, the Rams 4-6. And I just want to focus on the Rams. How do you think they made their first impression on LA? Do you think they're okay? Because they wait to start Jared Goff till then. He has an okay game, his first start, a lot of pressure. But how do you feel they did in their first year in LA? Still with a few games to go.
Well, I think they play a little better in LA than they do on the road, as most teams do at home versus the road. I don't know if they're even going to get to 500. I see them maybe as a 6-10 team. Maybe win a couple more games, and it's the first year. Obviously, they got a long ways to go. I don't know if Jeff Fisher survives this season. Just way too many sub-500 seasons in a row. And with them opening a new stadium, they might want to get a big-time coach to open that big-time stadium.
All right, so now we can move on to the NHL. We'll check out the standings there. So, pretty tight in the league. Let's start off with the Atlantic Division. We have the Canadiens leading. They're 14-3-2 with 30 points. They're on a roll. They've lost a few people, but they're just good. The general managers are good there. We have the Lightning in second and the Bruins in third. So what do you think of this Atlantic Division so far?
Well, I think it's pretty competitive. I mean, the Sabres are only 12 points behind, and they're in last in that division. The Red Wings last night lost to the Calgary Flames. That was a bad loss for them. But really from probably the Panthers up, which Panthers are in 5th place, pretty good teams there. The Bruins, the Lightning, the Canadiens. But right now, of course, Carey Price is on fire, and he's leading Montreal to that division lead.
All right, we move to the Metropolitan with the New York Rangers at first, the Pittsburgh Penguins defending champions at second, And the Capitals, that's really the big three of that division, at third with 24 points. Obviously, the Capitals losing to the Blue Jackets a couple nights ago on a controversial call. We won't get into that, but what do you think of the Metropolitan so far with its big three teams, you could say?
Well, the Rangers have the best goalie with Lindquist there, and then the Penguins have the best offense with Malkin and Crosby. And then you look at the Capitals with Ovechkin, three solid teams there. And the Blue Jackets really playing over their heads right now. They really don't have that many all-stars on their team, but they are, competing this year. So I look for the Rangers and Penguins to be the cream of the crop there. I think the Winter Classic this year is in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. So should be interesting going into December.
All right, now to the Western Conference. We've got the Central Division, the Blackhawks. Everyone knows I hate them. They're in first. Darn it. The Blues in second with 23. And the Jets, you could say, maybe a surprise. They're 9-10-2, but with 20 points. With the OT losses and the points, it's different than most sports. So what do you think about the Central so far? Obviously, the Blackhawks should be in first and Blues should be in second, but what else?
Well, I think the big surprise here is the Predators with Pekka Rinne, one of the best goalies in the league, in last place, and ahead of the Avalanche, which, as you know, are a struggling team. So should be interesting. I think the Blackhawks definitely run away with this. The Blues are okay. They're not really that great, but definitely a lot of teams in here that may not be in the playoffs come playoff time.
All right, we move to the Pacific. We have the Ducks, Oilers, and Kings all tied for first. Now, this is not updated with the tiebreakers, so if the playoffs were to start, obviously the Kings having more losses would be in second, the Oilers would be in first for the tiebreaker with the Ducks being third. That doesn't matter right now. They're all tied. Oilers, Connor McDavid really leading them. He's on fire. So is Austin Matthews of the Maple Leafs. But I think my Kings are doing well. What do you think in this competitive division? Because last place is only 7 points behind first.
Well, I think the Ducks beat the Kings last night.
No, we beat them.
Oh, the Kings beat the Ducks last night. And so I think it's going to come down to the Kings and Ducks. I don't have any idea what the Oilers are doing there. They generally fade away come mid-season. Of course, the Coyotes bringing up the rear here with 14 points. The Canucks, who we watched get beat by the Kings in overtime, or in a shootout, I should say. So a lot of competitive teams here, but I think the Ducks' firepower and the better goalie at this point with Quick, who knows when Quick's going to come back, could be coming down to the Ducks and Kings for the title.
All right, now we've moved to our final topic, college football. What a last couple weeks it has been lately. As we move, let's see. The AP came out with, not that they're official, but they came out with Bama, OSU, Michigan, and Clemson. So after the results, obviously Louisville losing. First of all, I'd like to ask you, do you think Lamar Jackson still has a great shot and perhaps will win the Heisman? And then we'll get into the teams.
He might be the best he might be the best player in college football, but he's definitely not playing on one of the best teams. They now dropped to number 11. I think they've found a way to kind of contain Jackson because the last two teams, which are Wake Forest and Houston, not really that great at teams, found a way to contain him a little bit. So making him pass a little more than run. He's definitely a better runner than he is a passer, and so they're kind of limiting him to what he can do. As far as the top four, the crazy thing here is Ohio State and Michigan. Ohio State could win that game this week, and neither team can win the Big Ten. It's going to come down to Penn State if they beat Michigan State versus Wisconsin. So, tough choice for the college football committee here. I don't know if they say, you know what, you didn't even win a division or your conference, so neither Ohio State or Michigan get in, and then they put Wisconsin in there for being Big 10 champs and beating Penn State.
And lastly, of course, I got to give a shout out to USC. 8-3, we beat UCLA. We upset Washington. We ended Washington's hopes, hopefully. We still have a chance at winning the Pac-12. Should be good. We made a great comeback. We found our new quarterback, our Cody Kessler, you could say. I'm excited for our future. I think we have a pretty good shot the next couple of years, and I think we have a good future, yeah. So thanks, Dad, for joining me.
You're welcome.
That's all for this week in sports. Thanks for watching.